What's going on, football lovers? Welcome back to the channel. Tomorrow, the world's greatest club level football uh, competition is back again. If not the World Cup international level, though, but I mean, UCL and World Cup can somehow be put in the same category because they give us, what they offer to the table is more or less the same. But the club level best competition is back again tomorrow after a nice PSG run in the previous competition. They won it by 5 goals to 0 in the final, if you can remember, against Inter Milan. But tomorrow we go again, and this video is about the predictions of the match day one. Since it was introduced, this new style of grouping of matches. So it's like a league table where all the 36 teams well, that 16s or yeah, all of them are playing in terms of a league format. So from match day 1 to 8, both of them playing 8 matches, 4 at home, 4 away. So help me as we're going to predict, the results for all the uh, 18 matches. Although I'll put emphasis on the big games. I know it's going to be a longer video because of the 18 matches, but trust you me, we're just going to focus on the main part, which is the game and the results. No many stories. So just be with me as we go and predict these games. So without wasting time, the first game, of course, is PSV versus Union St. Gilois. This one is Netherlands against Belgium. PSV, the previous Uefa Champions League, they had a very good journey. They eliminated Juventus, and then they had a very good encounter in the UCL journey last season. Union St. Gilois, not too much in there about it as far as Champions League is concerned. PSV, they have an 80% win record this season. They have won they have won 4 of their last 5, having lost one. Union St. Gilos on the other side, they have won 4 as well, but drew a 1. The previous results for PSG was a 5-3 win against their neck brother team in their league, and then Union St. Gilos also had a win. No, they were beat by Denda, a team in its league. PSG currently they are second in their table, and Union St. Gilos on the other side are first in their table. So this is something going to be a great game. This is a game of leaders in both of their leagues. So I think PSV, given the experience they have in the Champions League, because Champions League, if you are keen, is normally about experience or something like that. Because a team can be very poor in its domestic league, but if it gets into the Champions League, it has a better performance. So I think PSV are just going to win it narrowly by 2 goals to 1. Then the second game of the Champions League match day 1 2025-2026 season is Arsenal versus Bilbao. Spain against England, as Bilbao host Arsenal. This is going to be, I think, the second meeting between these two. They met earlier this season in a pre-season where Arsenal came out as the victorious ones, and they meet again in the Champions League. So it's like it's going to be a rematch of home and away. This time Arsenal is going to be away, because the last time they hosted Bilbao, which I said it was in the friendly match, it was at Emirates Stadium. Bilbao, they were not in the UEFA Champions League last season, or rather they were in the Europa League, and they were eliminated by this team here, Manchester United. But this time they finished top in the La Liga table, top 4, and then as a result they now featured in the UEFA Champions League. So they have 3 wins in their last 5 games with 2 losses, back-to-back losses. By both of their last 2 games they've lost. Arsenal, on the other hand, they started on a very good note this new season. They have 4 wins and 1 loss, which was against the reigning champions, Liverpool. Bilbao currently sit 4th in their table. Arsenal, of course, are always second in their table. Previous match day for Bilbao, they lost 1-0 to Alaves. Also, the other one, they lost 1-0 to Osasuna. So 2 losses in a row without scoring a goal. Arsenal, they had a comfortable win against Nottingham Forest, 3-0 win in the Emirates Stadium, where the new boys did their best, mainly with the 2 wonderful goals. Liverpool also was the other game that they lost, but they won their previous game, which was I think on Saturday. Bilbao, have in mind they've lost 2 of their previous last games. So Bilbao moving into this game with a a perspective where they're trying to, rectify that mistake. They're trying to at least get back to winning ways, because, losing 2 games in a row, then you face Arsenal. That's a potential 3 defeats in a row. So regardless of that, I believe Arsenal, they're just about being the best team. I think they're in the top 4 best teams in Europe right now, and I believe Bilbao is not going to cause any threat to Arsenal, even despite the fact that they don't have Saka. But players like Madueke have shown that they don't need a Saka, even when Saka is out injured. Players like Madueke have shown to Arsenal fans that that's not a big deal. It's not going to impact them in a bigger way, although it might impact just a small way. So, having discussed all that, I think Arsenal are just going to come out victorious in this one with a 2-1 win, because Bilbao, normally, arguably, they are argued as the best defensive team in the La Liga, because they're very stingy defense, them after Atletico Madrid. So Arsenal are just going to win it by 2-1. Then, I had all these teams, I had analyzed them separately. So third game is Juventus versus Dortmund. Juventus and Dortmund, these teams are both teams that have both of them have a good experience in Europe level. Dortmund, they might be underperforming in the domestic league, but if you put them in the Champions League, then they're going to do something that you are not you won't imagine them doing. Because a good example is last season. They were performing badly in the league until they sacked their coach, but then they came into the Champions League against Barcelona, and you all know what happened, even despite the fact that they had lost the first game away at Barcelona. So Dortmund, they have a 60% win record this season. They've lost 1, they've won 5 of their last games, and they've drawn also 1. Juventus, on the other side, they have a 100% record. They won all 5 of their last games, including a win against Inter, dramatic late winner by Thuram, who scored where his own brother, it was very crazy to watch. His brother Marcus Thuram, who is a forward, scored from a header from a corner kick. He then again scored from a header from a corner kick, the winning goal in the last minute in front of their father. So it was a Thuram masterclass. You can call it the Thuram derby. So with that win, they are second in the table. Dortmund are also second in the table with a 2-0 win against Heidenheim this weekend. And so because of this, I think this one is just going to be a very good game where both of them are strong. You can see Dortmund are just about going back to their winning ways form in their domestic league. They're second. Juventus also, they had a very bad season last season, but this season they've proven that they can do it. And so I think just going to be a good game, and just about drawing a 2-2 draw. That's what I'm going with that as my prediction to this game. So again, the next game after that, the Real Madrid, the champions of the UCL competition, the boxes, the big giants of the competition, the owners of the competition, you can call them how you like, are hosting Marseille. They have a 100% record, Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso is doing some good job there. Their last game was against Sociedad. They won with a red card. This guy from Bournemouth, Dean Husgen, was sent off in the 32nd minute, but they still managed to win that game 2-1 against Real Sociedad. Marseille, on the other hand, they have a 60% record this season. They've won 3 of their last 5 and lost 2. They're 7th in their league. Their last game was a 4-0 win against Lorient, who also had a red card in the 10th minute. So they were basically playing against 10 men for something like 80 minutes or so. They've played Real Madrid 4 times. They've lost 4 times. So I think this one is just straightforward. Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, it's normally hard to beat them there, even regardless of the fact that this guy Rudiger is going to be out because he has an injury. I think Bellingham also is not ready to play. The coach Xabi Alonso was saying he's hoping to have him back in October. So having discussed all that, I think this one is just going to be a comfortable win. Although Marseille, with the likes of Mason Greenwood and the return of Aubameyang, I think they're going to cause some trouble, a little bit of trouble. They're going to get one goal, and then Real Madrid is just going to score three. So it's going to be 3-1 to Real Madrid. Benfica versus Karabag. This one is Portugal versus Azerbaijan. You know, Benfica, uh, they have a good experience in the Champions League. You know, where if you talk about experience, Benfica are one step ahead of Karabag. They have a 73% win record this season. They've drawn two of their last five and won five. Karabag, on the other hand, they have a 47%. They've won two, lost two, and drawn one in their last five games. Benfica currently they haven't had the best start to their season because they're sixth in their Portugal league, although they haven't played one game. As Karabag, on the other hand, has seventh in the Azerbaijan league. The last game for Benfica was a dramatic 1-1 draw against Santa Clara, you know, who had a red card. Karabag, on the other hand, also, they had a 1-1 draw with a team called Zira in their league. So I think Benfica are just going to, you know, go back to winning ways like they do and start their Champions League campaign with a 3-0 win against Karabag. Tottenham Hotspur against Villarreal is the next game. This one is England against Spain again. And Tottenham Hotspur host Villarreal with a 60% win record in their last five games. They've won three, lost two. Villarreal have a 47%. They've won two, they've lost two, and they've drawn one. Portugal under this guy, Thomas Frank, are doing some amazing job in the Premier League. They currently sit they're third in the Premier League with a 3-0 win against West Ham, which had a red card again in their last game this weekend. Villarreal, they won. They were beat by Atletico Madrid 2-0, and currently they sit fifth in their league, in the La Liga. So I think Tottenham, with the signings they've made, Xavi Simons making an immediate impact on his debut, Thomas Frank, Mohamed Kudus, Richarlison, of course, Brennan Johnson, Solanke. They have very good players. They have a very, very good defensive structure. So I think they're just going to win this game. They're going to boast a shy win of a 2-0 win against Villarreal at home. Olympiacos versus Paphos. This one is Greece versus Cyprus. 60% win record for Olympiacos. They've won, three of their last games and lost two. Paphos, on the other hand, they have a 67% record. They won two, they've drawn one, and they've won three, they've drawn one, and they lost one. They're 11th in the Cyprus League. Their last game was a 1-0 loss with a red card. Both of them had a red card against a team called Apollon. And then, of course, Olympiacos, they had a 5-0 spanking of a Panserikos team of that name, which had a red card. So because of that, I think Olympiacos, they have a better experience than Paphos in the European level. So they played most of the European level in the Europa League, but it's still Europe and they still have an experience in that. So I think, given the fact that they are at home to Paphos, they're just going to win the game by 3-1. Slavia Prague versus Bodo Glimt. This one is Czech Republic versus Norway. Slavia Prague, 87% win record this season. Won 4 of their last 5 and drawn 1. Bodo Glimt, on the other hand, 80%. They've won 4 and lost 1. Slavia Prague are first in their league. Norway, Bodo Glimt are also first in the league with a 7-1 win in their last game against Kristianstad. Slavia Prague have a 3-1 win against Kavina, who had a red card in their last game. So I think both of them have European level. So I think this European experience. So I think this one is going to be a good game. Bodo Glimt, they had a very, very impressive run in the Europa League last season, but they were knocked out by Tottenham in the semi-finals, if you can remember. Slavia Prague also, they're normally a consistent team in terms of, their domestic league. Also in the Europe level, they also never disappoint. So I think they're just going to win it because of home advantage by 2-1, a narrow win, very, very narrow win. Then the biggest game, arguably the biggest game or the second biggest game of the match day, Chelsea versus Bayern Munich. 100% record for Bayern Munich in their last 5 games. They have a very, very dangerous attack. Michael Olise, Luis Diaz, and Harry Kane is no joke. Chelsea, on the other hand, they have 73% win record. Their last game was against Brentford, with Palmer returning from injury and making an immediate impact, although they succumbed to a late equalizer with Brentford scoring the second goal to equalize for the game to end in a 2-2 draw. They currently sit 5th in their table. They've played Bayern 7 times. They've won 2. Bayern have won 5. Bayern are, of course, first in their league with a 5-0 win against Hamburger this weekend. So, Bayern Munich, I believe they have more experience in the Champions League than Chelsea, 2-time champions. I just feel Bayern Munich are going to win the game by 3-1. I mean, they're stronger than Chelsea at the moment. PSG, the reigning champions versus Atlanta. 100% win record for PSG. First in their league. They played one game with Atlanta, they've won it. 2-0 win against Lens in the last game. Atlanta on the other side, they have a very, very poor record this season. They have drawn 3, won 1 and lost 1. And they sit 7th in the Serie A with a 4-1 win against Lecce this weekend. I think PSG are arguably the best team in Europe. And this is going to be an easy win for them. PSG 3, Atlanta 1. Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid. Liverpool under Arne Slot, they're doing some very good job also this season. Atletico Madrid, they've not had the start they wanted under their coach Diego Simeone. They've won 2 of their last 5 games, lost 1, drawn 2. They have a 2-0 win against Villarreal in the last game. Liverpool won it late in the Premier League against Burnley, who had a red card. A 1-0 win from a Mohamed Salah penalty, and they're first in the Premier League. I think this one is going to be a win for Liverpool by 3-1. Surely they are better than Atletico Madrid at the moment. They've shown that they can beat teams in Europe. They beat Madrid last season, and I believe they're just going to beat the other Madrid again this season. Liverpool 3, Atletico Madrid 1. Ajax versus Inter Milan. Inter Milan are coming from a very, very disappointing, hurting win against Juventus. Their rivals in the Serie A. They have a 47% win record. They have also have not had the start they wanted because they sit currently 11th in the Serie A, having lost the last game 5-4 to Juventus. They've played Ajax 7 times. They've won 4, 1 draw, and Ajax have won 1. Ajax on the other side, they have a 73% win record this season. They've won 3 of their last 5, drawn 2. Their last game was a 3-1 win against Pexol. They're third in the Eredivisie League. I think Inter just going to go back to winning ways, and they're going to win this game by 2-1. Club Brugge host Monaco with 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss in the last 5 games. They've played Monaco 3 times. They've won 1. Monaco won 1. They've drawn 1. 1-0 win, 1-0 loss against Lorive in their league. This is Belgium against France again. They're 5th in the Belgian league. Monaco, on the other hand, they have 3 wins in their last 5 games, 2 losses. They've won 2-1 against AG Auxerre with the red card. They currently sit 3rd in the league. Monaco is a team that, again, you don't rule it out when it comes to Champions League because they have a very, very good experience in Champions League. They've made some good signings. Ansu Fati from Barcelona. We have Paul Pogba, who's coming back to football after being banned for some months, or rather 1 year or so. So I think it's going to be a good game, and I'm going for a draw, a 1-1 all game, a draw in this one. Copenhagen host Leverkusen with a new coach. Copenhagen, they have won 2, drawn 2, and lost 1 in their last 5 games. They've played Leverkusen 3 times. They've lost 3 times. They're second in the Super League, Denmark Super League, and they've lost their last game 2-1 win to Brøndby. Leverkusen, on the other hand, are just about coming back after sacking Ten Hag after 2 games in the new season. They've had a new manager. They've won their last game against Frankfurt with a red card. They've won the game with a red card 3-1 after some 2 beautiful free kicks. They currently sit 10th in the Bundesliga. So because of that, I think by Leverkusen, they're going to win the game by 2-1 by Leverkusen. Then Frankfurt host Galatasaray. They won 3 of their last games, of their last 5 games, and lost 2. Their last game was a loss to, of course, we've just discussed it now, Leverkusen 3-1. They currently sit 5th in their league. Galatasaray, on the other hand, they've had a 1% win record this season, with a 2-0 win as their last game against a Eurosport. They currently sit first. But because of European dominance, European experience, I think this one also is going to be another draw, and I'm going for a 1-1 draw for this one, for those two teams. Then City host Napoli. Kevin De Bruyne is coming back to Manchester. Scott McTominay is coming back to Manchester, and the recently left this guy from Manchester. Rasmus Højlund is also coming back to Manchester to haunt Manchester City. Manchester City had just defeated Manchester United in the derby yesterday. So I believe Scott McTominay and Rasmus Højlund are coming for retaliation. But Kevin De Bruyne, who's been in the side of City this time, is going to be on the other side of rivalry. City have 60% win record this season. They've won 3 of their last 5 and lost 2 in a row before the Manchester derby. The previous win, of course, was a 3-0 win against Manchester. They've played Napoli 4 times. They've won 2, drawn 1, lost 1. Napoli are coming from a win against Fiorentina, 3-1 win, with Rasmus scoring his first goal in the around 13th minute. They carried to sit first in the Serie A. Antonio Conte has been doing some good job in Napoli, and I believe they're just going to cause some trouble for City, but I think City are just going to win it late, narrowly, going for a 2-1 win to City. Newcastle against Barcelona, arguably the second best team in Europe last season after PSG. Barcelona, they have an 87% win record, with winning 4 of their last 5 and drawing 1. They are currently sit second in the La Liga. They've swiped away Valencia in their last game, 6-0. They've played Newcastle 2 times, they've won 2 times. Newcastle United, they haven't had the best start to the season as we know them. They've won 1, drawn 2, lost 2 in the last 5 games, and they have a 1-0 win against Wolves as their last game. They currently sit 10th in the Premier League. I think this is just going to be another win for Barcelona in there. They're going to start their Champions League 2025-2026 with a win against Newcastle. 3-1 win to Barcelona. The last game of the Matchday 1, Sporting Lisbon host Kazakhstan side. Sporting Lisbon, they have an 80% win record, with winning 4 of their last 5 and lost 1. They're second in the table. They've won 2-1 in the last game against Famalicão. Kairat, on the other side, they have 67% win record. They've won 3 and lost 1 and drawn 1. They have a 1-0 win against Aktobe in their last game in their domestic league also. So those are the games for the Matchday 1 UEFA Champions League 2025-2026. Game to watch: Bayern Munich versus Chelsea, Real Madrid versus Marseille, Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid, Arsenal versus Bilbao. Remember to subscribe, make your predictions in the comments, and like this video and share. See you in the next video.